This is the Wrestling Replay. I am Cato. Welcome to episode number 15. This is the AEW Dynamite and Rampage Go Home Edition, heading into the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Now, as I record this video, we are 40 minutes away from the pay-per-view. I got the buy-in on right now, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on that, watching what's going on at the same time, recording the video. So we're going to run through everything that happened in WWE, things that happened in AEW. We're going to give out predictions, and then we're going to sit back and enjoy the pay-per-view. So if this is your first time watching the channel, please go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so anytime we drop a video, you'll be the first ones to know what's going on. Now, let's jump into Monday Night Raw. A new challenger for Bianca Belair's WWE Monday Night Raw Women's Championship. Her name is Carmella. Now, I'm going to go back and say it again. I think Naomi and Sasha Banks walking out really messed up a lot of plans, but they had to find a new challenger. I do like the fact that we're seeing somebody new throwing their name in the hat. With Rhea Ripley injured, and they're going to have to put that match on hold for a little bit. I think it's actually a good thing. I think they should have waited for that match to happen. And I feel like that's more of a SummerSlam, one of those big pay-per-view type matches anyway. So while Rhea's healing up, we got Carmella stepping in. She defeated the likes of Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Asuka, and Becky Lynch. Now, Asuka and Becky Lynch, they are going at it. Their feud is nice and strong. I believe that Becky Lynch is eventually going to turn back into that man version of Becky Lynch. That version that, didn't really care what anyone had to say about her. That was the version of Becky Lynch that really got over and really put her on the map right before she went out to have the baby. So I think if that version of Becky Lynch eventually comes back, the crowd is going to be right back on Becky Lynch's side. Now, we've seen Omos. He defeated Matt Riddle, and he qualifies for the Money in the Bank ladder match. I've seen a lot of people saying that, already they're writing off Matt Riddle. And I don't think that's the case. I think, if anything, the performance that he put up against Omos in that matchup, even though he lost, I think it actually puts him over even more for the fact that he just had this grueling matchup with Roman Reigns on Friday Night SmackDown for the championship, in which he came up a little bit short. He comes in Monday night banged up against the giant of all giants right now in WWE, someone who's been red hot, someone who's coming off a feud with the likes of Bobby Lashley, who was a champion in his own right, who's actually going for another championship at the pay-per-view. So losing to someone of that caliber, it doesn't hurt Riddle. And the way that Omos dominated Riddle, and he just really showed his menacing side, I think it really made the fans sympathize with Riddle even more. Like, this guy never gives up. He always go out there and fight. So if anything, for me, I think it actually helps Matt Riddle case as being a babyface. Now, talking about Bobby Lashley, he managed to not qualify, but he won his gauntlet match against Chad Gable, Otis, and Austin Theory to earn himself a United States Championship shot at Austin Theory. Now, this is the dilemma. You could put the title on Bobby Lashley, right? He is a former United States champion. He's a former world champion. I think he will dominate that title for a long time to come. Or you can leave that title on a young heel like Austin Theory, somebody that everybody hates. He gets under everybody's skin, and he's young. He's good. If you leave this title on Austin Theory, you can help continue to build that prestige, but he needs to win big matches like this against the likes of somebody like Bobby Lashley. So if you're going to have Austin Theory lose this matchup, Bobby has to have a long run with that title. And if he does, I could possibly see a feud with John Cena and Austin Theory. It's kind of, foreshadowing, they're kind of telling the story a little bit. We had Vince McMahon come out early in the show, and all he did was praise John Cena. He praised John Cena, and right now, Austin Theory is Vince McMahon's boy. So if Austin Theory can get past the likes of Bobby Lashley, you would have to think that when John Cena come, Austin Theory is going to feel some type of way about it. And I think he's going to come down to the ring and let John Cena know. The only problem is Austin Theory cannot cut a promo with John Cena right now, but a feud with John Cena, it would be great for his career. You got Bobby Lashley. John Cena is a step up. So at that point, I kind of like what's happening. I really do. We talked about Cody getting hurt. They needed another babyface to come in. John Cena's, hey, they made the call to John. He's going to come in. Initially, I thought that Seth Rollins was going to be his target, or maybe Judgment Day was going to be his target. But when Vince came out and cut that promo to open up Monday Night Raw, I knew Austin Theory and John Cena, the matchup everyone is waiting for whatever reason. They keep comparing a young Austin Theory to a young John Cena. I guess look-wise and body-wise, you could say yeah, but everything else, absolutely not. He's not a young John Cena at all. But, I mean, he's not bad. Theory is still one of the most talented young guys we have in the WWE right now. Now, we also seen Angelo Dawkins. He defeated Jey Uso. They're just building up for that pay-per-view match for the tag team championships. We seen Elias. Elias finally came back. It's not Ezekiel. I thought it was Ezekiel. I thought that Elias was Ezekiel. I was wrong. He came face to face with Kevin Owens and smashed Kevin Owens with a guitar over the back. So maybe we'll see Elias back in the WWE at some point. AJ Styles, he defeats Tommaso Ciampa. That was a really good matchup. And Asuka defeated Becky Lynch later on in the night to qualify for her spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match for the females to decide what title they want to go after. Now let's go ahead and jump onto the WWE SmackDown side of things. Now to kick off the show, there was an issue with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus where initially they was both put into the Money in the Bank qualifying matchup, even though their match went to a no contest. It went to a draw. Management, from the help of Paul Heyman, said, you know what, neither guy qualifies. And if they want to qualify, they have to defeat the Usos later on the night, which they did in the main event of SmackDown. But it was an okay matchup. I mean, you kind of knew what was going to happen anyway. Now, Sami Zayn, he defeats Shinsuke Nakamura to qualify himself for the Money in the Bank. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, they decide not to do a rematch because that's the tag team match no one wanted to see with Jinder Mahal and Shanky again. So I like that. And I did like the return of the Viking Raiders. They attacked the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. So I do like this new look of the Viking Raiders. I feel like this is the Raiders I want to see. I don't want to see a fan-friendly Viking Raiders. And honestly, I would really like if they added a third member, like a bigger guy in the Viking Raiders to kind of do the dirty work. At the end of the day, the Viking Raiders are probably maybe like 5'9", 5'10". They're just like bigger guys, but they're kind of short. If you add somebody that's about 6'4" to kind of watch that back, or maybe the younger Raider of the group, whatever, I think it could really build a nice faction with the Viking Raiders, and they would look even more dominant. Now, we also seen Lacey Evans and Raquel Rodriguez defeat Sonya Deville after she was complaining that she had no matches. She wasn't in the Money in the Bank qualifying matches. So Adam Pearce decided to put in a handicap match against both of Lacey Evans and Rodriguez, which she came up short. The Street Profits, those guys did commentary on the main event. I think this match with the Street Profits and the Usos is going to be really good. I mean, it's not nothing we haven't seen before, but I feel like the more that teams wrestle together, the more they cut promos, the more that chemistry continue to build, the better that the matches are. And I think the Street Profits and Usos are actually going to go out there and outdo themselves in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, well, it's not ladder match, I'm sorry, the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Now, we also seen Shotzi Blackheart. She defeated Tamir. She qualifies for that Money in the Bank ladder match. And Happy Corbin is challenged by Pat McAfee for a match at SummerSlam. They are already building out SummerSlam, so I like that. And we also got to remember we had the return of Brock Lesnar a week before. We're going to get that match at SummerSlam again. That's the rematch that nobody won. I feel like I like Brock. I like Roman. That match is always a hit, but 3 times within 1 year. Granted, this time it will be a last man standing matchup. That makes things a lot more interesting. I feel like that's just another out for the Usos to come and help Roman Reigns to his feet when both men are laid out. So, and last but not least, we got to see Gunther. He defeats Ricochet in a rematch for the Intercontinental title. I love the title around the waist of Gunther. I think this is what they needed on SmackDown. This is the type of guy that they needed to carry that Intercontinental Championship, someone that you can actually believe that should dominate his peers. That's someone who should have great matches against the likes of Drew McIntyre's, your Sheamus's, your former world champions, pretty much, to pretty much lead him into the way of actually challenging for the Undisputed Championship, and it will be believable. So I really like the title around the waist of him. That was pretty much everything that happened on the week of WWE. Pretty good shows, pretty good storyline advancements. I'm not mad at anything that happened there. Now let's go ahead and jump into AEW. What we came to really talk about this week, the Forbidden Door. Let's start out with Daniel Bryan. He's unable to compete, so who will Zack Sabre Jr. face off against? My thoughts is that he will go against either Johnny Gargano or Cesaro. I wouldn't mind if both made an appearance at the Forbidden Door, to be honest. But when Bryan Danielson was speaking, he said that you're going to get one of the best technical wrestling matches. So of all the free agents, I had to run through and think who would give me the best type of matchup that he's speaking of. Who would fit into the Blackpool Combat Club with the group that they already have? And to me, honestly, I think it's Cesaro. I think Cesaro will match up best with Zack Sabre as far as the size, physicality. I think he matches well inside of the Blackpool Combat Club. Johnny Gargano, I like him as well. He's a tremendous wrestler, a great technical wrestler. But I think Cesaro just match up a little bit better than he does with the group. Now, I wouldn't mind at some point seeing Johnny Gargano inside of AEW. I think this would be a good home for him. It's kind of ran like NXT was, where it's not really about size as much as it is about talent. And he's one of the more talented guys that we've seen in the past 10 years, just as far as technical wrestling goes, as far as putting on great matches. So if you would love to have someone like that inside the AEW locker room. We got to see Orange Cassidy and Riccoboni Vice. They defeated Will Ospreay and Aussie Open. We also seen Malachi Black. He defeated Penta in that qualifying match for the All-Atlantic Championship. Malachi is my favorite to go home with that title. It's going to be a fatal four-way with Miro, Malachi, Pac, and Ishii. But Ishii was hurt, so it will be Carnage replacing Ishii in that fatal four-way matchup. I still like that title on Malachi Black. I think he's the right man for the job. I think he's someone I could see moving on to being your next AEW World Champion at some point in his career. We also seen Hangman Page. He defeated Silas Young. I liked Silas Young in this matchup. Why? Because in ROH, we've seen these two match up before. You knew they had great chemistry. You knew it was going to be a really good matchup. And I feel like Silas Young is one of those ROH talents that could really help that young AEW locker room. I feel like even his persona that he was working with before ROH had their issues is something that he could bring as, that grizzly veteran that doesn't like the young guys, doesn't want to take anyone under his wing. He really wants to defeat everybody and get them out of his way and get them out of the company because he doesn't feel like they deserve it. I feel like that will work great in AEW because there's so much young talent and there's so many good guys that he can match up against. Now, we also seen Toni Storm. She defeated Marina. At the end of the matchup, Thunder Rosa came back and she kind of returned the favor when Nyla Rose and Marina started to attack Toni Storm. At the end of the whole beatdown and melee, Toni Storm was once again holding the Women's Championship. I don't know if this is foreshadowing for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. This is the second time at the end of whatever brawl they was going through, whatever issues, that Toni Storm pops up holding the championship. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup. I like the matchup with Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm at the pay-per-view. I think that's going to be great. We also got to see Chris Jericho and Lance Archer go against Jon Moxley and the ace Tanahashi. They were victorious over Jericho and Lance Archer. Now, after that matchup, all hell broke loose. You had the JAS Society come out. You had the Blackpool Combat Club come out. You had Santana, Ortiz, Kingston. All this is building up for the Blood and Guts match. I like it. Now, while all this is going on, you get a stare down from Moxley and Tanahashi. I kind of like it. I like the intensity, but the only issue was, that brawl was going on for a good maybe 5 minutes. That was a long stare down for neither one to make a move on each other before the pay-per-view. I guess they do have some really good respect between each other, so I guess it wouldn't break out like that. But still, that was a long time to just be staring face to face, but it did show the tension there between the two. It did show that neither one was going to back down from each other. So it's really building anticipation for that match at Forbidden Door, where we're going to get an interim AEW championship. Now, I thought about it. At first, it was no doubt in my mind, Jon Moxley will be the interim champion of AEW. No doubt in my mind. And then I thought about it for a second. Like, hold on. I watched Tanahashi come out here 2-3 weeks in a row now. Clearly, he doesn't mind popping up on AEW television on Wednesday. If this is the case, could Tanahashi actually be the AEW interim world champion? Because a matchup between Tanahashi and CM Punk is what we really wanted, what we thought we was going to get to anyway. So if he's the interim AEW champion, building up for CM Punk to come back and make his return to AEW, I don't know how long CM Punk's going to be on the shelf, but just imagine the matches we could get from Tanahashi as he's holding that world championship, waiting for CM Punk to arrive back. We can get a matchup with him and Heyman Page. We're going to get the matchup with Jon Moxley. You got Danielson. I don't know how long he's on the shelf, but we can get some great matchups. And a lot of these guys already have chemistry with a lot of the New Japan guys. Let's face it, a lot of the AEW roster was wrestling there on the independent scene anyway. So now I'm up in the air on this matchup of who's going to actually go home and bring home the AEW interim championship. Now, I saved this for last because I've seen a lot of people talking as well about the Christian Cage promo with Jungle Boy. Well, shooting on Jungle Boy, where, he held no punches back. And that's why you got to love someone like Christian. I don't think people give Christian his just due. I don't think they really give him the respect of who he is. He's a great face, but he's an even better heel. You got to remember, Christian Cage, of all the promotions he's been to, he's always played a great heel. And he's always been able to gain heat. Now, with him addressing Jungle Boy's dad being dead, talking about his mom, Christian really set the tone for the matchup between Jungle Boy and Christian Cage. It kind of reminds me of when MJF was shooting on Brian Pillman Jr. Only difference is now, Jungle Boy has been under the wing of Christian Cage for months. He's been under the tutelage of Christian Cage. You got guys like Arn Anderson, Jake the Snake in the back who can cut great promos. So he's going to have to come out there and he's going to have to talk with Christian Cage. He's going to have to go one-on-one on that microphone with Christian Cage. Inside the ring, it's going to be a great matchup. No doubt in my mind. But leading up to that matchup, Jungle Boy's going to have to bring it. He's going to really have to sell it because Christian Cage has already set the tone. Now, in the midst of saying everything he said, we've seen Luchasaurus come out and he looked to be upset. Now, my only issue is when he came out, it was Jungle Boy's music, which, they both come out to fine. I would have liked it if Luchasaurus would have came out and maybe his mask, maybe his street clothes, as if he was just sitting in the back waiting, and then he heard what Christian Cage was saying, and he said, you know what, I'm going to go stop it. He came out with the music. He should have came out to no music. He came out, fully dressed ready for a matchup. I would have liked it better if he was in street clothes. And when he got to the ring, it was a little weird situation where he's choking Christian Cage. I feel like the choke went on too long before Christian was like, relax, before he could actually calm him down. He referenced Marco's stunt. He said, look, Luchasaurus, you're like a son to me. I would never betray you. It has nothing to do with you. Me and you have to talk. Now, whatever he whispered into Luchasaurus' ear before they went back to the back, it got Luchasaurus to calm down. Now I'm interested. Now I am invested. I was invested in Jungle Boy when he looked like he was going to get a shot or be the one to win the AEW championship. It looked like he was on at least a path to that. And then they put him into a tag team shortly after, and they win the tag team championships. I came here weeks and weeks and saying, look, I want this team to split up. I want to see Jungle Boy back on a one-on-one scene. I want to see Luchasaurus by himself. I think he can be a TBS champion, TNT champion. I think that he could be an All-Atlantic championship. So I like the fact that these teams are split up. Now, if Christian Cage can get Luchasaurus on his side, which I think is how it's going to play out, we're going to have a heel Luchasaurus under the tutelage of Christian Cage. I think that's going to really be great for not only Luchasaurus' career, but it's going to be someone that Christian Cage can kind of mold and kind of shape to be a champion. Now, for Jungle Boy, it's perfect because not only do you have to worry about Christian Cage, but now your best friend, the guy that's been your tag team partner for so long, we built this Jungle Express, we was tag team champions. What are we going to do here? Ultimately, I think it leads to Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus one-on-one after the matchup with Christian Cage. I think he loses to Christian Cage because Luchasaurus is going to make his choice. Whoever wins that matchup is because Luchasaurus makes his choice of if I'm going Christian or if I'm going with Jungle Boy. And to be honest, I would love to see a heel Luchasaurus. I think he would be an absolute monster inside the AEW locker room. And he's a big man. Right now, we got Lance Archer, Miro. These are your big guys. You know, your Brian Cage is back. But I really like Luchasaurus being in that one-on-one scene. Now let's go ahead and jump over to the Rampage side of things. Really great matchup between Andrade and Rey Fenix to kick off Rampage. We got to see Roosh. He made an appearance. He's one of my all-time favorite guys in ROH. He's one of my favorite wrestlers in ROH. So with him appearing, helping out his partner, well, technically not his partner yet, I guess a longtime partner, and Andrade defeat Rey Fenix. If he's partnering with Andrade, I mean, it just fits. AEW right now has the best tag team wrestling in all of wrestling. So if we're going to add one of those teams to the mix, it just further advanced them. It puts them further ahead in the race of tag team wrestling. We also got to see Jonathan Gresham for the first time on AEW TV. Maybe we'll get that match against Jonathan Gresham and Bryan Danielson at some point. Right now, Danielson hurt, but we're going to see him team up with Lee Moriarty against Tully Blanchard. He got a new crew, so that's going to be pretty interesting. I like the members of the crew, no doubt about it, but we have to see exactly what they're going to bring to the AEW roster, what they're going to bring to the show. Are these guys going to be on the ROH side of things? Are they going to be a mix between AEW? So I'm kind of undecided, kind of mixed up, because we haven't really seen much ROH and AEW guys actually mix it up as of late. So if we're going to get Jonathan Gresham starting to wrestle in AEW, whew, man, we in for a treat. We got to see Serena Deeb. She teams up with Mercedes Martinez. They managed to pick up a win. This could be an interesting tag team or interesting alliance, I should say. Serena Deeb, if she has someone like Mercedes Martinez actually watching her back, and she goes back after Thunder Rosa, which I think they should eventually do, she could easily walk away with that AEW championship. Now, I don't know if Toni Storm is going to win or not, but I could definitely see Serena Deeb walking away with the AEW championship if she has someone like Martinez in the corner. We also got to see Hook. He defeated the DKC. And in our main event, we got to see Cash Wheeler one-on-one with Jeff Cobb. If you are unfamiliar with some of these New Japan wrestlers, some of these guys who wrestled in ROH, man, just go back and Google a few matches. These are some talented guys. This pay-per-view should be amazing. I know I've seen rumors of backstage issues as far as who should win, who should lose, just the politics of wrestling, right? But these guys are talented. And if we're going to get these guys on AEW more often, if this is going to be an annual pay-per-view, oh my gosh, this could be one of the biggest pay-per-views. I'm talking up there with WrestleMania. I know that's a lot of foreshadowing, but you gotta remember WrestleMania is in like the 30s. So the Forbidden Door could be a really huge event. I remember New Japan coming into Madison Square Garden. They sold Madison Square Garden out on their own. Now you match them up with the talent that we got in AEW on a pay-per-view like Forbidden Door, where we're getting guys from all different promotions coming together to wrestle at one event. I mean, the sky's the limit to me. But Jeff Cobb did manage to pick up the win over Cash Wheeler. They're building up for the match at the Forbidden Door themselves. So that's everything that took place on Dynamite and Rampage. MJF, let's talk about MJF real quick. Hey, look. Hey, Christian Cage just raised the price. He raised the price. MJF, you're going to have to come back either at Blood and Guts, or you're going to have to come back right after Blood and Guts. And you're going to have to do more than just talking on the microphone. We got guys like Christian Cage just talking on the microphone, and he's ready to sell a hell of a match. Between him and Jungle Boy, that's going to be an amazing match. So you're going to have to do more than just talk now. You're going to have to go out there and put on 4-star out. I mean, I'm not looking for 5-star matchups, but at least a 4-star matchup, a match where people are going to be really talking about it and people remember what happened. So you're going to really have to come and put yourself on the map, and not just as a talker. You're going to have to start showing out inside the ring, because if we're going to get these great talkers with from guys who are putting on great matches to follow it up, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for you to actually, for your argument to be valid. You're talking about these ex-WWE guys coming in there, but Christian Cage came in, put a hell of a matchup on with Kenny Omega twice, back to back, and he made you want to watch both of them. And the second one was even better. And he's going to put on the show right now with Jungle Boy. I guarantee it. So I'm excited to see what happens when MJF finally gets back. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Forbidden Door card, and let's get through some predictions, because that's always fun to do. Now I'm going to skip the buy-in, because honestly I'm watching the buy-in. I can see exactly what's going on with the buy-in, so I'm going to skip that part. But we got Dudes with Attitude against the Bullet Club. I'm going to go ahead and side with Sting and Darby Allin, man. You got Sting coming back. I think he's going to go out there and get a dub for his team. So I like Dudes with Attitudes. We got the team of Eddie Kingston, Shota, and Willa Yuta versus Chris Jericho, Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara. I think Chris Jericho finds a way to pull it out for his team. I think it's just going to build more into the Blood and Guts match, because I'm going to side with Eddie Kingston's team at the Blood and Guts match. We got Zack Sabre Jr. versus a mystery opponent who I'm going to name Cesaro. If it's Cesaro, I think he's going to go out there and win a matchup, because that's going to be his introduction into the Blackpool Combat Club. We got Pac versus Miro versus Malachi Black versus Clark Connors, who's replacing Ishii, and that matchup to see who will be AEW's All-Atlantic champion. And I'm going to go with Malachi Black. I think he's the right person to put the title on. We got FTR versus United Empires versus Ricombi Vice, and the winner takes all ROH and IWGP Tag Team Championships. I'm going to have to go ahead and go with FTR. I mean, honestly, they're the best tag team in the world, and it's pretty hard to bet against those guys. When they get it going, man, I don't got too many other teams beating these guys. So I'm going to roll with FTR to take home all the gold. We got Thunder Rosa versus Tony Storm. I'm going to go ahead and say Thunder Rosa is going to hold on to that championship, and we possibly get Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb going at it one-on-one again for the AEW championship. We got Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy for the IWGP United States Championship. Now, we just watched the guys in a 3-on-3 matchup. The chemistry between Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay was absolutely amazing inside that matchup. So I think we're going to get a great singles matchup between the two. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to go with Will Ospreay. But I think Orange Cassidy's going to put up a hell of a fight. We also got Jay White, his IWGP Heavyweight Championship, will be on the line against Okada, Adam Cole, and Heyman Page. I think Jay White will go ahead and retain his championship. He just got the damn thing, so why would you take it off of him that quickly anyway? But that's going to be a hell of a matchup as well. We got Jon Moxley versus Tanahashi, who will be the interim AEW World Champion. Now, I'm going to just go ahead with the wild card. I know everybody's going to think Jon Moxley, but you know what? I'm going to go Tanahashi. Why? Because I think Tanahashi is going to be there for when CM Punk returns. Hopefully it's not a long stay out for CM Punk. And I think we're going to get to CM Punk and Tanahashi like we wanted to anyway. So that's my picks for the Forbidden Door. We are 3 minutes away from the pay-per-view. So I'm going to be wrapping things up. I would ask for your predictions, but I wouldn't be able to see them anyway. So tell me what you think about Christian Cage and Jungle Boy, because that's a really big matchup. I think that's going to be the feud that carries AEW. That's going to be one of those feuds that make you tune into the show because you want to see what happens. And the next feud for WWE that I think you're going to want to tune in for is going to be John Cena and Austin Theory. There's no way that you get John Cena back and he doesn't steal the show. His promos are amazing. He's proven time and time again he could come in from a layoff and he come right into the ring and put on an amazing matchup. He did it with Roman Reigns. He almost had you thinking he was going to actually win the title off of Roman Reigns, but came up a little short. Those are the two storylines I'm really looking forward to on WWE side of things and on AEW side of things. But for now, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to dive into this pay-per-view. I'll be right back in a few hours and giving you a rundown of the AEW Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Winners, losers, surprises, all that good stuff, man. So make sure you come right back to the channel and check out that video as well. All right? I'm Cato. I'm signing out. Peace.